Great. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Again, one more time. I am Roman, Kevin Kwan in the house as well. A couple of other communities joining us for the first session, session number 1 on the RTC PCA, Road to Google Cloud Certification, Professional Cloud Architect. We're going to go over the past 2 weeks, whatever we left you as an assignment, kind of. Remember, this is a self-paced but collaborative study group. So we're going to go over the first, the week 1 code labs and sessions. We're going to do that in the first half hour. The second half hour, we're going to do a mock exam. So for those of you who want to stick around and you want to see how we do it during our office hours, we're going to do like a mock exam, kind of practicing a couple of the questions that came out during those 2 weeks. Again, don't worry if you haven't completed. That's totally fine. You can catch up. But this is just for those of you who completed it. This is a review. For those of you who haven't completed it, this is what you will be seeing for week number 1. Nothing that we're going to show here today is unknown or we took it from somewhere else. Everything is from the curriculum that we set up for everybody. Great. So Kevin can set you up. Exactly. Yeah. For those of you who don't know where to get the credits, we can show you, but you should be set up at this point. If not, you can join us, remember, via the Slack channel, and that way we can set you up as well.
I just bumped up the RSVP, so you should be able to sign up now.
Perfect. Anybody, let me try, I'll say, please. Okay, perfect. So let's start right away. Linda from GDG Capital Region.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Linda, how are you? Thank you for joining us again.
Yeah.
Great. So remember, like the way that we do is like we check the badge tracker and we see where we are. I see a couple of folks are like at the top. Kevin Kwan leading the pack. We got Pradeep, of course, but he, let's actually give a round of applause to Pradeep. He actually got the Google Cloud, the certification. He got certified.
I was wondering
the exam if you can. Pradeep, you want to come off mute? Yeah.
I was wondering if you could add even my profile, Roman, to this.
I can, sure.
You can. Because
it depends on the type of profile that you have, but we can take a look at that offline.
Yeah,
I just wanted to give Pradeep the mic so they can share his experience about the professional cloud architect certification. He got it last week. So how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, Roman. How are you?
Great. So how was the exam, first of all, for everybody to know?
Yeah. Exams. I was on the for quite a long time, some distractions, some family challenges, someone getting sick, so I had to postpone multiple times. But yeah, the exam was good and it really tested concept very well. And to be very honest and candid, what I practiced from VizLab, from a Cloud Guru, some of the Udemy practice tests, hardly I got 5 to 7 directly. Okay, remaining all were around those concepts only. That's the best thing that VizLab helped me to clear my concepts, how to answer, how to take up any unknown question, and that helped me to eliminate wrong answers and but yeah, as help, I have built some of the case study questions. I have compiled all case study questions as well as some of the questions which I feel you may not get in some of the sources. So I will try to extract those from some sources which I feel came from that set. So I will definitely discuss in one of the classes if you allow.
Great, totally. Thank you so much for your feedback, and I'm glad that you didn't just count on one single resource. You study from many resources. That kind of brings a lot of different aspects of like the whole study plan that you put together. Not just like, oh, let me study just from Cloud Skills Boost and then I should be able to take the test. You have to go to Coursera or Udemy or the the books that are out there, the study guides and all of that. So thank you so much for your testimonial. So I see a couple of folks. Yeah, please. Yes, thank you, Meredith. Yeah, she dropped the link to the form. If those of you who are not in the batch tracker, please follow that form. Thank you, Meredith. She's amazing. Yeah, that way you guys could put your names in there, and you will be at the end of this session, you will be in the badge tracker. That way you can see your name in there. So I see a lot of people already completing stuff. Remember, the way that you read the badge tracker is whenever you fill up one whole session block, it turns yellow. That means you're complete. So make sure that you complete all the yellow, you get all the yellow medallions or golden medallions in this case, to make sure where that you are on the right track and that you have completed that session. That way you can see not only you qualify for a voucher at the end of this campaign, but at least it tells you how far you are on your journey. Great. So without further ado, let's start. Let's start right away. So yeah, remember, this is the road to Google Developer Certification from GDG Lawrence, GDG Capital Region. Other GDG communities are here as well supporting us. So again, remember, this is a journey. This is a study group. We all study together. This is a very much self-paced. We give you the resources. We give you a 2-week period for you to complete these badges and quests. And then you do it on your own. You spend your time, and then you do it. But also you come together we all come together as a community to ask questions, to unblock us. Again, people, I love the interaction that we have in the Slack channel, people asking questions that we're getting unblocked, debating about a topic or something. That's really good. That is the kind of interaction that we want. So that is the part of the community forum. So that's why we're here for you, to ask you, to answer your questions, unblock you, and so that we can practice together. Remember, this is, if you're here, you're for the Professional Cloud Architect certification. It's okay that you may find like the content a little bit daunting. Maybe it might be a little bit overwhelming for some of you, but that's totally fine. If you're just here to gain knowledge about the cloud, you're more than welcome. But here we're also targeting the Professional Cloud Architect at the end of this campaign. We're going for that certification, which gives you, again, a great credentials in the industry about your depth and breadth of knowledge when it comes to the Google Cloud at that professional level. So this is what you were meant to complete up to today. For the past 2 weeks, we provided all the resources for you to complete these 3 badges. Preparing for the Professional Cloud Architect journey, which is kind of like a preparation kind of journey. It tells you how to answer questions, how to take the exam, kind of like gauge you where your knowledge is and which things you need to study. One of my favorite badges is this one, the core infrastructure. Even if you're a professional cloud architect, you are a cloud developer, if you just want to review those concepts that you have ingrained in your brain, you just want a refresher, this is one of the best badges out there, the core infrastructure. It goes through the whole Google Cloud from top to bottom, tells you in a summary what each one of their offerings, their services, all their components, everything that entails the whole Google Cloud is in that badge. So it's one of my favorites, I could tell you. And of course, create and manage cloud resources is a lab. Remember, this is why you need the credits. You need the credits so that you can complete the hands-on labs. The labs are those hands-on activities that you build, that you create in a sandboxed environment in the cloud, as if you were like a professional cloud architect, a professional cloud developer working in the Google Cloud itself, in dealing with the cloud shell, creating instances, building a compute engine VMs and all of that. So that is why you need the credit so that you can complete those labs. So by today, you should have gotten these 3 badges. If not, that's okay. You still have a chance to keep up. And remember, we are in the green. So you should have the green completed. Those are those 3 badges. The 2 badges are a bunch of videos and lessons and quizzes. And the third one was a lab. Now, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be focusing on week 2, the yellow one. So the yellow one is what we're going to be focused from today until the next session, which will be in September 13. That is our next session. So for the next 2 weeks, you focus on the yellow column, okay, which will deal with the foundation of the cloud infrastructure, core services, and also perform foundational infrastructure tasks in the Google Cloud with a bunch of hands-on labs in there. So make sure to focus on that for the next 2 weeks. And these are the 3 badges that you're going to be getting in the next couple of weeks. So again, it's okay that if you haven't completed these 3, that's totally fine. You can catch up. You still have time, no problem. Then what you're going to do is you're going to complete this 3, but then you have to complete this 3 as well. So now, then for the next 2 weeks, you have 6 badges to complete. Again, it's okay. But at least by the end of the campaign, we're going to give you a couple more weeks. We're going to give you additional weeks in between also, so that you can catch up, so that you can breathe some air. We're going to take a break during the Thanksgiving season, I believe, and then we're going to come back again, more refreshed. Or I think we're going to be able to finish even before that. But let's make sure that we do have enough time accounted for, so that you can complete those badges. This is the link, Kevin. If you don't mind dropping the link to the Slack group. Remember, if you want to ask us questions, interact with the team, interact with other fellow cloud engineers and cloud study, members of the study group, don't forget to join our Slack channel. That way you can interact with us, ask us questions, and all of that. Great. So let's start right away. What I'm going to be reviewing in the next couple of slides, we're going to go all the way to till 8:30. I'm going to spend like 15 minutes. It's exactly what you will be seeing in week 1. These 2 badges, preparing for the Professional Cloud Architect exam and the Google Cloud Fundamentals, is what I'm going to go over. I'm going to just go lightly through a couple of the things that you will be seeing. But if you did complete those, this is going to be a review for you. This is just going to be a review of what you will be seeing or what you already saw, just so that you know where we are. Okay. And then in the second half, in the second half hour, what we're going to do is like a mock exam. Some of the same questions that you got in the practice exams in there, we're going to go over as a team in a group using an interactive tool called Slido. And then we're going to be able to answer questions and whatnot. Okay. So let's do that. Great. So one of the things that you're going to be seeing in those videos for week 1 is they talk about cloud computing. Talk about cloud computing being a way of using information technology that has 5 equally important traits. So anything that refers to cloud computing has to have those 5 pillars. 1, anything that is cloud computing in the sense of infrastructure and information technology deals with these 5 pillars. Customers get computing resources that are on demand, meaning that they can just procure those assets on demand. They don't have to ask anybody, put a ticket or anything like that. Number 2, customer get access to those resources over the internet from anywhere. They don't have to, again, like I said, like make a phone call or ask or call like somebody. They can just open up the cloud console and you can get to those resources. Number 3 means the provider of these resources allocates them to users out of a pool. Number 3 means all of the cloud resources in the Google Cloud are actually out of a pool. So if, let's say 1,000 people join, it's actually, there's not like a person sitting behind the Google Cloud connecting servers or provisioning hard drives, instantiating VMs for you. No, there's a pool of resources already running in the Google Cloud and they get assigned to you out of a pool. Number 4 says resources are elastic, meaning they're flexible so customers can be. Flexibility in the Google Cloud means things can horizontally scale or vertically scale. Horizontally meaning provisioning more servers. Vertically is bumping up the server infrastructure, whether it's CPUs, hard drive, memory, etc. And number 5, customer pays for what they use. Meaning you don't pay for anything that is not being used. You only pay for what you use. If you set up a computer, let's say a computer engine VM, like a VM instance, you pay for that. It's still running, but you're paying for it. If you decommission it, you don't pay for that. Cloud functions, you only pay when they're running. If they're not running, you don't pay, and so on and so on and so forth. So the 5 pillars, that's also something that you need to know for the exam. There are 2 types of offerings as far as the cloud computing goes. So we have IaaS and PaaS. IaaS means infrastructure as a service, where they provision the infrastructure for you, so you don't have to worry about the hardware. And then you have on the other end of the spectrum, PaaS, platform as a service, where you don't have to worry about the hardware at all, everything is virtualized, everything is taken care of for you, everything is managed. You only have to worry about and even the platform is even virtualized for you. You only have to worry about the code. For example, App Engine, Cloud Run. Those are, like mostly like App Engine, Google Kubernetes Engine. Those are platform as a service. You only, all the platform is virtualized for you. You only have to worry about provisioning like the resources to make your applications run effectively. In the Google Cloud, you have managed resources and managed services. That's something that you need to be aware of. Managed resources are things that are, again, fully transparent to you. Everything is managed by the Google Cloud. Everything is taken care of for you. Updates, upgrades, auto scaling, auto provisioning, scaling up and down, all of that, load balancing, all of that is taken care of for you. You only have to worry about creating amazing experiences for your users in the Google Cloud. So you have managed resources, which again also entail like persistent disks, virtual machines, and those type of resources that you use to accomplish, and create great experiences in the cloud. Serverless computing is something, that is kind of like a term that is really hot right now, because serverless computing deals with no provisioning at all of any servers. It's not like servers don't exist. Servers are there, but they're even provisioned, managed for you, so you only have to worry about the code. For example, Cloud Run, those are serverless containers. Cloud Functions, those are serverless functions that you don't have to provision any servers, worry about anything, managing a server, provisioning any resources. You only worry about the code. That is mostly the serverless. And again, the serverless offerings from the Google Cloud Functions, Cloud Run, all of this, you're going to be able to see it in week 1 videos. Okay. Again, see, I mentioned already Cloud Functions, which are event-driven, single-purpose functions that you can deploy without worrying about servers. And Cloud Run are what they call serverless containers. So you deploy containerized microservices in a fully managed environment as containers. Again, all of this is in those videos. I'm just going over the most important aspects of it. Okay, so make sure that if you haven't seen it, you will see it. And if you haven't already, this is just a review for you. Some of the examples about like software as a service and SaaS. So again, it's providing software as a service through the Google Cloud. For example, the Google Workspace, Gmail, Google Docs, Google Drive. Those are SaaS offerings already provided to you that maybe you didn't know, but now you know that Gmail, Google Docs, Google Drive, those are SaaS offerings already living in the Google Cloud. You have multiple regions. The way that the infrastructures are distributed in the Google Cloud are in geographical locations called regions. Then within regions, you have something called zones. We're going to be discussing that in a minute. You also have multi-regions. Multi-region resources are the ones that are distributed across the globe. That way, your users, don't have that much latency. The information is closer to them and whatnot. There's a bunch of regions. They keep growing. So make sure to remember this for the exam. So, and these are the logical distribution and the logical kind of like separation when it comes to the Google Cloud and its resources and services are location. For example, you have like one specific, for example, like that's where the resources live. You have regions. This is the geographical locations. For example, region, U.S. Central, U.S. West, East, Europe. Those are the regions. And then the zones are the data centers within those regions. So you have a location. For example, let's say the US, you have regions have zones. And that way, this is something that comes out a lot in the exam. So you need to make sure that you know this distribution of resources and the way that they're geographically located. You see, for example, like virtual machines are actually zonal resources. Those are resources that pertain to a zone. Because, for example, like a virtual machine, it could be like in Europe West or Europe East and so on. And that also alleviates what they call the resource redundancy. If, let's say, one virtual machine goes down, if you have, let's say, like a managed instance group, which is a group of virtual machines treated as a single instance. If one goes down, the other one picks up the load, and then you don't have to worry about that. But you can distribute it across multiple zones. That way you have resource redundancy. One zone could even go down. One whole data center could go down. but the other data centers will pick up the load. So that is something that comes out a lot in the text and the test about resource redundancy. So something to make sure to keep in mind. Cloud storage. Cloud storage is, again, object storage in the Google Cloud. Objects are kind of like the binary representation of any type of file that you can store. And cloud storage could actually be regional or multi-regional. That way, your let's say anything that you have in your cloud storage stored as buckets, like that is the way that you organize like your objects in the Google Cloud, in the cloud storage. You can have a regional or multi-regional, and that way the content is much closer to your users. You can also get charged, for example, per second billing. This is the way that things get charged in the Google Cloud. Per second billing is like the like one of those metrics that you get charged. In other cloud providers, they charge by the minute, by the second, by the millisecond. That way you have a very fine-grained control of the resources that you use and how much you're paying, because usually you can rack up a high bill in the Google Cloud. So you got to make sure that you understand billing in the Google Cloud. And how do you understand, how do you know before you even provision any resources in the Google Cloud? You can use the calculator, the resource calculator in the Google Cloud. You can see, oh, how much will a VM with this amount of virtual machine, this amount of virtual CPUs, this amount of memory, this amount of disks in this particular region is going to cost me if I keep it running for 3 days or whatever. You can do that, and then before you even provision those resources, you're going to get some rough calculations on how much you're going to spend. So this is, as an architect, this is one of the best tools that you may have at your disposal. So these are the things that you need to make be conscious of when it comes to provisioning resources and be able to allocate them appropriately. You need to know about budgets, how much how much you're allocating for certain resources, so that you don't go over budget. That way you don't again, like, rack up a huge bill. Alerts are those things that notify you when you're actually reaching those budgets and whatnot. Reports are a way that you can then have like a tangible information on those things, whether budgets go up and down, alerts are triggered. You get those reports, and then that way you can do some conscious decisions based on that. And quotas, of course, this is how you let's say you can give let's say your developers or the people in your organization some free range within they can play and provision resources, but within certain quotas, so that way they don't exceed those. This is some of the things that actually come up in the exam a lot. The hierarchical structure in the Google Cloud as far as resources. This is something that comes out in the exam. If you don't learn this, you're gonna fail, because they're gonna get a lot. You're gonna get a lot of these. The topmost level in the organizational hierarchy in the Google Cloud, you have the organization. Then under organization, you can have folders. Folders are kind of like the logical grouping of projects. Projects are where resources are allocated, and this is where you can, let's say, you provision all your services, all your resources in the Google Cloud are under a project. And the resources is the bottommost level. This is where you create, again, the cloud buckets. This is where you create your your websites, your databases, and all of that. That's in the those are the resources. So you need to make sure you know that hierarchy: organization, folder, project, resources. So you make sure to know those 4 levels. You can add policies at multiple levels, but policies in the Google Cloud, actually, they trickle down. So wherever you apply a policy, like let's say you apply it to a folder, it applies to all the, let's say, all the projects within that folder. So everything goes top down pretty much. That is the way that it applies in the Google Cloud. Thank you, Kevin, for providing the slides. We can go together and take a look at how it actually does that. So thank you very much for providing those. Perfect. Okay, so let's continue. Again, like I said, all of this you're gonna get it in the video. So don't fret if I'm going too fast. You're gonna watch those in the video for week 1 if you haven't. If you have, this is just a review for you. Remember, the projects are the basis for enabling and using the Google Cloud services, like managing APIs, enabling billing, and all of that. Each project is a separate entity under the organization node, and each resource belongs to one project. So that's something that you need to make sure. A project can have a project ID, a project name, and a project number. That's something that you must know because you get asked a lot in the exam. And then you see how the third level, up in the hierarchy is the folders. Remember, the folders is how you assign policies and permissions assigned to that folder. And a folder then can contain projects, other folders. You can do like a little hierarchy or a combination of both. You can use folders to group projects under organization hierarchy like that. Okay, so make sure that you understand those concepts: organization, folders, projects, resources. IAM, you get a lot on IAM, identity and access management. With IAM, administrators can apply policies that can define who can do what on which resources. The who part of the IAM policy means like a Google account, it could be a Google group, a service account, or even a cloud identity domain. The can do what part of that policy is defined by a role, and a role is just a collection of permissions. A role is nothing but a collection of permissions. You got to remember that. And then you can apply roles to like a group of people. That way you can just apply certain, instead of adding a role to an individual resource, like an individual person or individual resource, you actually apply it to a role. You apply the permissions to a role and the role to groups, or to, for example, let's say to like a folder. That way it actually trickles down. An IAM role, like I mentioned, is just a collection of permissions. That is pretty much what it is. For example, you want to manage virtual machines in a project. You want to be able to create, delete, start, and stop virtual machines. All these, let's say, permissions can be grouped into a single role, and then that role can be assigned to a group. That way, everybody within that group, let's say if somebody leaves the company, oh, okay, this person leaves the company, you're going to have to go to that particular person's account and start removing roles. No, all you have to do is take this person out of the group, and that's it. Everybody else is not affected in the group. So that is something that you need to make sure to understand. I see a couple of questions. We can address those questions in a minute in the chat, or I don't know, Kevin, Linda, if you guys can address some of those questions while I go through a couple of these slides. Again, you need to make sure to understand the three basic roles, the three roles in the Google Cloud. You have basic, predefined, and custom. Also, you need to understand what service accounts are. Service accounts are not like assigned to a person. A service account is something that you can apply to let's say, for example, like a virtual machine, like to cloud. For example, let's say you have an application running in a virtual machine that needs to store data on the Google on cloud storage, but you don't want anyone on the internet to have access to that data, just that virtual machine. So you create a service account, and then you assign it to that VM, to that virtual machine. That way, that virtual machine can access your cloud storage. That is the way the service accounts work. So make sure that you can do that as well. There are 4 ways to access the Google Cloud. You get a question like this in the exam, no matter what. What are the 4 ways that you can access the Google Cloud? You have to remember the console, the cloud console. The cloud SDK, meaning you can access via a software developer kit, you can access the Google Cloud programmatically through the cloud SDK. Also, you can do the Cloud Shell. The Cloud Shell is a web-based terminal that you can use to access the Google Cloud. Also, you can access it via APIs. So via application programming interface, you can access the Google Cloud. And last but not least, there's a mobile application that you can access the Google Cloud as well. So those are the 4 things that you need to remember about how to access the Google Cloud. 4 aspects: Cloud Console, SDK, APIs, and the mobile application. The Cloud Shell, this is one of my favorite features, the Cloud Shell. So you get a 5 GB Debian-based virtual machine with a persistent 5 GB home directory for free. If you create a free, let's say you grab a Gmail account, you create a free, and the free tier, the Google Cloud account, you get for free the Cloud Shell with 5 GB of home directory. And you can do a lot of cool things in that virtual machine. And you can even learn a little bit about the cloud completely free. But again, if you exceed those things, then they ask you for the credit card. So, but I definitely encourage people to sign up for the free tier in the Google Cloud and access the Cloud Shell. Great. You need to understand, Linda can vouch me on this. You get a lot of questions on virtual private clouds. You'll get a lot of questions in the exam about VPC. You need to understand what a VPC is, a virtual private cloud is a secure private cloud within a public cloud. For example, the Google Cloud is a public cloud, but you can have inside of there a private little cloud only for your resources inside of the Google Cloud. So a VPC is a virtual private cloud, is your own cloud inside of a public cloud, but nobody else accesses it from the outside. And the way that you actually, for example, VPCs combine the scalability and convenience of the public cloud with the data isolation of a private cloud. So you can have your own VPC connecting to even your own premises, let's say local networks, and in your private little networks, let's say on your own-prem, server, like server room in your company, but you want to connect to a private cloud-based, network, or in your little cloud, you can do it via VPCs. So that's something that you need to understand for the exam. You need to learn also about like subnets. You need to learn, for example, like what are subnets? What are the things that make up a VPC? For example, like in this case, for example, you have like one VPC with two subnets. Subnets can actually be increased by expanding the range of the IP addresses allocated to it. You can have a VPC with one network that currently has one subnet. For example, like this one in this particular screen, you have one VPC with one network that has one subnet in one region and another subnet in another region. And then you can have, like, for example, like virtual machines that can communicate with each other via private IPs, thanks to the fact that they are part of the same VPC. They're neighbors in the same, let's say on the same subnet, even though they may be in different zones, but they can still communicate. Compute engine, of course, we mentioned that is virtual machines in the Google Cloud. So you need to make sure to understand what compute engine, immediately when you hear compute engine, that is virtual machines in the Google Cloud. That's it. A virtual machine can be configured much like a physical server. You can SSH into it. You can specify the amount of CPU power, memory. There are multiple types of like compute engines that you can instantiate in the Google Cloud, and it's very easy. You can do it in a couple of minutes. Again, you can use, there are multiple types of machine of compute engine instances based on the type and the kind of workload that you want to run. So those are the things that you need to be aware of. Auto scaling, that's something that you get a lot of questions on. Auto scaling. Compute engine has this feature called auto scaling, where the VMs can be added or subtracted from an application based on load metrics. Let's say you get a spike in traffic on your application running on a virtual machine. Actually, the other part that makes this work is actually the load balancing, which is actually load balance the incoming traffic into those virtual machines. And of course, now in conjunction with the VPC, with the virtual private cloud, it supports different types of load balancing. All of that you're going to get in that video that I told you, that badge. You're going to get all of that. So make sure to, if you haven't watched it, make sure to watch those. They talk a lot about VPC. You need to understand a lot of that. Talk about routing tables. Again, it's kind of like as a physical network. You also get routing tables. Routing tables are built in, so you don't have to provision or manage a router. They're actually used to forward traffic from one VM instance to another within the same network, across subnetworks, or even between Google Cloud zones without requiring an external IP. If you're afraid that your traffic is going to go over the public network, don't fret, because routing tables allow you to do that within the same, between zones across networks. You can pass traffic very safely. Firewall, you get that in the Google Cloud. VPCs provide a global distributed firewall, which can be controlled to restrict access to instances through both incoming and outgoing traffic. What I love about firewalls in the Google Cloud is that you can define it via firewall rules. And firewall rules are nothing more than just a configuration that you can set. They can be defined through network tags. For example, you can create a tag and say, any VMs that have this tag will be able to have access to TCP protocol on port 80. And if you apply that tag to that, let's say, virtual machine, that's it. Those machines can have, that virtual, that firewall applied to them. It's pretty cool. So in the week one, you're going to get a lot of that. This is something that comes out a lot in the test. VPC peering and shared VPC. VPC peering is the way that you can have a relationship between two VPCs to exchange traffic. Is a VPC peering. That's what it is. For example, let's say you have your own on-prem network running in your company, and you want to exchange traffic between your VPC and your on-prem. You use VPC peering, or you can use shared VPCs to control who in your project can interact with the VPC. You use shared VPC, which is pretty good because you can leverage IAM on that as well. You're going to get a lot about load balancing. You got to understand load balancing. The job of a load balancer, let me repeat it. The job of a load balancer is to distribute user traffic across multiple instances of an application. If you have, let's say, a bunch of virtual machines running your application, and then you get a lot of traffic, machines can get spun up if there's an increase in traffic, and you don't have to worry about it. They get a provision for you, and then when the traffic goes down and the traffic comes back to normal, those virtual machines get decommissioned and they get brought down, and you don't have to pay for those. So it's fully distributed. It's software defined. It's not like a load balancer is not a server like a Bastion server that somebody installs in front of your other virtual machines. No, it's software based, and it's a fully managed service for all your traffic. It's pretty good. So make sure that you understand that. You need to understand the multiple types of load balancing, HTTPS load balancing, regional load balancing, and some of those concepts. So yeah, those are the 5 types of load balancers that you can get: HTTPS, SSL, TCP, regional load balancer, and regional internal load balancing. All of those concepts are going to be in week number 1 session. So make sure to keep an eye on those. Great. So yes, so this is it as far as like the review that I was going to go. There's a bunch of things to review. Make sure to watch week number 1. Let me go back again. So look, I'm going to escape out of here. All of those things that I mentioned, you're like, oh, what the heck was Roman mentioning? Everything is in those 3 badges right there. Everything is in there, especially all the slides that I went are in this video, which is my favorite. Like this set of videos, the core infrastructure. If you don't know anything about the Google Cloud, this will bring you from 0 to hero in understanding cloud computing and what the Google Cloud entails. So make sure to get those 3 badges, catch up, and make sure that for next week you get these 3 badges. That way, in 2 weeks, we're gonna meet again, and we're going to review those 3 badges. Okay. So now I'm gonna give you a quick, let's say what I like to call it, a very, very review of what we're going to be doing during our office hours in the off weeks. Remember, like, let's say next week, next Wednesday, we do like a more informal session where we review exam questions. So I'm going to show you how is it that we do it. That way you get a feel for it. If you want to join us, all good. If not, we'll see you in 2 weeks. That way you can focus on the next 3 badges and you can continue reviewing. So this is the way that we do it. We actually, let me show you how we do it. We use Slido, and the way that we do it is you join Slido either through your mobile application, or you can just go to slido.com. I'm going to drop the link in here. So if you go to slido.com and then you enter the code 277-277-807, I'm dropping it in the chat. If you go to Slido and you enter that code, you're going to join the interactive sessions that we hold every other week, where we practice exam questions, things that are going to come out in the exam, because you need to exercise your exam muscles. You need to exercise those questions. This is the way that we do it. Very interactive. We ask questions. We give you a chance to try it. So that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to just go over for like about 20 minutes. We're going to review a couple of those questions that came out during week 1. That's why I'm saying I'm not making it up. Everything is coming from week 1. If you study week 1, this is a review. If not, you're going to be seeing these questions again when you get to week 1. So, yeah, take your time. Let's give you like a couple of, like 1 more minute so that you can join at slido.com with the code 2777807. Either you from your mobile application, you can scan the QR code. Let's review a couple of those questions. Let's get a feel for how the exam is going to look. These are exam questions that are going to come out in the exam. I have like a dump of questions that I'm going to be sharing with all of you so that you can practice those questions before you go to the exam. That way you get a little bit more, familiar. You get a little bit more confident when you go and take the exam. Okay. So let's see where everybody is. Make sure to join Slido with that. So let me see where we are. Let me play the quiz. That way we activate it. Make sure to join Slido.com with the code 2777. Yes, Kevin says next Wednesday is when we're going to be doing heavy reviews. Remember, every 2 weeks on the sessions, we review the content. We answer questions from the group, but only on the week offs, the office hours is where we practice exam questions. Exam questions that are gonna come out in the exam. No gimmick, no nothing. Things to prepare you for the exam. Let's give you 30 more seconds. I see a bunch of people already joining. Let's see who's gonna answer some questions. Let's see where everybody is in your journey when it comes to learning the Google Cloud. Let's see. Okay. So I'll give you 30 more seconds to join. 30 more seconds to join. That's okay if you don't answer the questions or you don't know it well. This is just to have fun, to help each other, to learn from each other. But this is the way that we prepare ourselves for the exam, by actually doing exam questions, going over the content. In the next sessions, Kevin and I are even going to go into the Google Cloud, the Google console. We're going to try commands live. We're going to do stuff for you live. So make sure to stick around and all of that. But this is one of the things that you need to continue doing if you're going for the certification. Okay. 30 more seconds on the clock. That way we can start the questions. 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds, guys. That way we can start the review on the questions for the exam. Great. Thank you, Swati. Ahmed, thank you. You need to register for the exam now before studying. No, the vouchers, Ahmed, the vouchers are given at the end of the campaign. Remember, we have 6 sessions. Remember, the last session will be in November 8th. After November 8th, those of you who qualified to have all the little golden badges in here in the badge tracker are going to get a voucher. If you complete all the campaign requirements, you're going to get a voucher. So make sure to get on those vouchers, guys. Get on those sessions. That way you complete it. Everybody who's up here already is going to get one for sure. There you go. So Pradeep already got his, but he's here helping us, in a supporting fashion. He already got his certification. So one of you is going to get his voucher. Okay, so make sure to do that. Let's start the questions. Let's start. So I'm going to go with the first question. Let's do it. Let's practice. Question number 1. Why might a Google Cloud customer, let me zoom in a little. Why might a Google Cloud customer use resources in several zones within a region? You have 4 options. For getting discounts on other zones, for expanding services to customers in new areas, for improved fault tolerance, or for better performance. Pick one option. Why might a Google Cloud customer use resources in multiple zones? Remember, we discussed about multiple zones and what's the benefit of it. So why is it? For getting discounts, expanding services, improved fault tolerance, or better performance? Let's see what people are answering. People are, a little bit mixed up. That's totally fine. People say for improved fault tolerance, better performance, or expanding services. More people towards the improved tolerance. And that is the right answer. It's for improved fault tolerance. Remember, if one whole zone, all your resources are in one single zone, you're dead. There's no resource tolerancy. So you need to make sure to accomplish that by allocating your resources in multiple zones. Great work, guys. Let's continue on the next question. Select 2 fundamental characteristics of cloud computing. Remember, we mentioned that. Select 2. Customers are required to commit to multi-year contracts. All resources are open source. Resources are available from anywhere over the network. providers always dedicate physical resources to each customer, or customers can scale their resources, their resource use up and down. You have to pick two. In the exam, you actually get this question and they tell you pick two, and you got to pick two. So pick two out of these, the two ones that you feel are the most about, like, what are the two fundamental characteristics of cloud computing out of this list. Let's see where people are. Resources are available from anywhere over the network, and people are more over the customers can scale their resources up and down. Not a lot of people are on the committing the multi-year contracts or dedicating physical resources. The right answer is correct. Those are. Why? Because remember, we talked about the resources are available anywhere over the network. And also they have to be, remember, elastic. That way they can scale the resources up and down. That means the elasticity. There's no multi-year contract. They don't have to be open source, but you don't get any physical resources either. So that is the correct answer. Let's continue. Who benefits the most from billing by the second for cloud resources, such as virtual machines? Let's see who. Customers who create virtual machines that run commercially licensed operating systems. Customers who create too few virtual machines to get discounts. Customers who create and run many virtual machines, or customers who create many virtual machines and leave them running for months. Who benefits from billing by the second? So let's see what type of customer benefits from billing by the second. That way they truly take advantage of the money that they spend, the budgets, remember, that they spend on virtual machines running. So which ones? What type of customers? I see customers who create and run many virtual machines. People are a little bit split more towards the people who create and run many virtual machines. Like, do you benefit from the billing by the second? Let's see what type of customer does that. That is correct. Customers who create too few virtual machines don't benefit from it because they don't get discounts. Remember, volumes on virtual machines give you discounts. So that's why customers who create many virtual machines get the discount, and the billing by the second, the more they do, the more discounts. So they do get the billing by the second, then that definitely benefits them. Next one, what cloud computing service binds application code to libraries that give access to the infrastructure that the application needs? What type of cloud computing service binds application code to libraries? Hybrid cloud, software as a service, platform as a service, virtualized data centers, or infrastructure as a service. Remember, like Pradeep mentioned earlier, you need to learn how to isolate the questions that don't even make sense. And that way you do the process of elimination. You pick eliminate first the ones that don't make sense, that don't apply to this, and then you narrow it down to those few ones. So think, what cloud computing service binds application code to libraries that give access to the infrastructure that the application needs? Find the keywords: infrastructure, application code, libraries. What type of cloud computing? Platform as a service. Why platform as a service? The infrastructure is already taken care of for you. The platform as a service binds the application code to the library. That is the platform as a service. So the infrastructure kind of threw you off because you're thinking, remember, the infrastructure is actually the virtualized hardware, kind of like VMs and some of those. That is the infrastructure as a service. But platform as a service is the one that actually binds the application code to libraries, and you don't have to worry about the platform. So that is the right answer. Next question. What cloud computing service provides raw compute, storage, and network resources that are organized similarly to physical data centers? Think about this. What looks like a physical data center, but it's actually in the Google Cloud? What type of cloud computing service provides you raw compute, storage, and network resources that are organized similarly to like a physical data center? Imagine like a room, or like a service room full of servers. What gives you that in the Google Cloud? Database as a service, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, or platform as a service? Let's see where everybody is. I think you're getting the hang of it. I see people going to the database as a service. I don't know what. Oh, maybe the storage word kind of threw you towards the database. Let's see what the right answer is. It's infrastructure as a service. Remember that infrastructure gives you the raw compute, but in the Google Cloud. You don't have to manage the physical infrastructure, but they provide the physical infrastructure for you. That way you don't manage it. And it looks like a physical data center because you can create virtual machines, you can create networks, connect routers to it, routing tables, create load balancers, and all of that. Great. Next one. Which of the following statements is true regarding the ability to scale cloud computing resources up and down? Which one of the following statements is true about the ability to scale up and down? Cloud computing does not provide a way to scale resources. Only storage resources are elastic. CPU, memory, and storage are elastic, or only CPU and memory resources are elastic. Remember, all these questions are in week 1. If you already took the videos on week 1 and you went through the labs, you should know these questions. If not, you will see these questions in the next, when you catch up. Okay. So let's get again. So let's see where people are. Which of the following statements is true regarding the ability to scale cloud computing resources up and down? So people say CPU and memory and storage resources are elastic. Okay. Correct. CPU, memory, and storage are elastic. Let's continue. Which way of accessing the Google Cloud lets you control services through the code you write? Think about this. Which way of accessing the Google Cloud? Remember, we mentioned the 4 ways to access the Google Cloud, but which one lets you control services through the code you write? You write code, you access the Google Cloud through your code. The Cloud SDK, the Cloud Console, the Cloud Mobile App, or the APIs. Which way you can access the Google Cloud through the code that you write? Let's see where people are. People say the Cloud SDK, people say the Cloud Console, but mostly the APIs. Okay, so most people are saying the APIs. The correct answer is correct, is the APIs. Through the cloud APIs, you can even write your code, and you can, through your code, you can do the same things that you can do in the Google Cloud Console that allows you to do that. You can automatically create buckets, instantiate VMs, like a bunch of things through the APIs. It's pretty cool. So you can automate that. Your company has Google Cloud projects and you want them to share policies. Remember, we mentioned this. You want to share policies in your Google Cloud projects. What is the least error-prone way to set up? You have a bunch of projects. You want to share policies. What is the least error-prone to do it? How do you do it? You place both projects into a folder and define the policies to the folder. You duplicate all the policies from one project to another. You define the new shared policies at the organizational level so it trickles down. Or you create a shared resource policies on the common resources that are used in both projects. Which way is the least error prone? All of this can be done, but not all of them are the right way. So you need to tell me which is the least error prone way that you can share policies across multiple projects in the Google Cloud. I see, I see a bunch of people already. Great, yeah. So you either place both projects in a folder and define the policies in that folder. You see, some people are torn, but that's okay. But the right answer is the top one. Remember, you need to apply the concept of the least privilege principle. You also need to make sure that no other projects that don't need to have the resources do have it. And the easiest way to do it is you apply it to a folder. That way, all the projects in that folder can inherit those policies. So make sure that you study that. That comes out a lot in the test. Next question. Select the option that displays IAM roles from general to specific. Remember, there are multiple types of roles. I didn't go into deep into the roles, but you should have seen it in the past couple of weeks. If not, this is a practice for you for the next couple of weeks. So select the option that displays IAM roles from general to specific. Custom, predefined, basic, basic, predefined, custom, or predefined, custom, basic. Which one is more from the general to the specific? Which one? From general roles, things that can apply widely, or specific roles, things that are applied to like specific resources or specific role. What is it? Custom, predefined, basic, basic, predefined, custom, or predefined, custom, basic? Let's see which one. So people are saying basic, that is more general, then predefined and custom. Let's see. Correct. Basic is the most general. Customs are the most specific because you create them with specific permissions. Remember that a role is just a group of permissions. That's all it is. So you can have predefined roles, kind of like cookie cutter approach, canned roles, or custom roles that you can define for your own resources. Ahmed says, which badges should we focus for preparation? For this particular one, remember, you should be here. Week 1 on these 3 badges right here is exactly the same questions that I'm going over. So make sure that you're on week 1 and you obtain these 3 badges. Then in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be reviewing those 3. Okay, so make sure to catch up. Great. Let's continue. We're almost done. Let's see now how this next question. How does the resource hierarchy control how IAM policies are inherited? So remember, the resource hierarchy is, remember, organization, folder, project, resources. So how does the resource hierarchy control how the IAM policies are inherited? They're implemented by lower level policies that can override the ones at a higher level. The ones that are implemented higher deny access to low level policies, or policies that are only implemented at the project level. They cannot be amended by lower levels in the hierarchy. This is something that you're going to get a lot in the exam. So what is it? IAM policies are implemented by lower level that can override the higher ones. They can implement it higher so that they can deny access to access that is granted to lower level policies, or only implemented at the project level. Which way is it? I know you may be a little torn. The wording might be a little confusing, but you need to understand those keywords. And when they talk about like the hierarchy, how things are trickle down and so on. The right answer is the top one. They're implemented at lower level policies that can override the ones at a higher level. You have something at a higher level that gets inherited by this resource. But if to this resource you add another policy, it overrides the one at the top. Remember, they trickle down, but they stop at that point if you assign another policy that can override the one at the top. You need to understand that point right there. Great. Let's do one more. Let's do like 2 more, and then that's it. We can answer a couple of questions. We prepare you for the next 2 weeks. So let's do a couple more. Consider a single hierarchy of the Google Cloud resources. Which of these situations is possible in Google Cloud resources? There is no organizational node, but there is at least one folder. There are 2 organizational nodes. See if this is possible. There is no organization node and there are no folders. There is an organizational node and there is at least one folder, or there is an organizational node and there are no folders. Which situation is possible out of these? No organization, but at least one folder. Can there be a folder with no organization? Can there be 2 organizations parallel to each other? No organization, but no organization, no folders. Can you have that? Remember, you have to pick 3. So there's a bunch that I can even already pick. So you have to pick 3. In the exam, you get a lot of these. Pick 3. Yeah, I know they want you to, it's not like they want you to fail, but they want to trick you. They want to make it hard. You have to pick 3. Which ones are possible? Can you have 2 organizational nodes? Can you have no node, no organization, no folders? An organization, but at least one folder, organization and no folders. Can you do that? So let's see which one. Then why don't you think about which 2 are not possible? That way you narrow it down better. There it is. The 2 top are not possible. You cannot have a folder without an organization, and you cannot have 2 parallel organizations. Organization is the topmost node. The other 2 are possible. Let's do one more, and then we should be good. Last one. Which statement best describe how Google Cloud resources are associated within the resource hierarchy? Think about this. All Google Cloud resources are associated with a folder. All cloud resources are associated with a project. all Google Cloud resources are not associated with the resource hierarchy, or all cloud resources are associated with an organization. Which best describe the way that resources are in the hierarchy? Remember the resources: APIs, VMs, persistent disks, cloud functions, databases. All of those are resources. Service accounts, all of that. How are they associated in the hierarchy? Think about that. All cloud resources are associated with a project. Let's see if that is correct. And the right answer, yes, all resources are associated with a project. We mentioned it earlier. You're going to get it in the exam. You're going to get it on week 1 badges. And throughout this entire campaign, we're going to be reviewing all of this. But to you, all of the things that I went over here, nothing was not from this 3 badges. So it's not like, yeah, Roman is coming up with weird stuff. No, everything is from here. Make sure to go over week 1. That is our next goal for, again, the next 2 weeks. So again, here we are. So the next steps are, let's go over the week 2 material to review as a group in the next session. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to be doing this one, the essential Google Cloud Infrastructure Foundation, core services, and the hands-on lab practice, which is to perform foundational infrastructure tasks in the Google Cloud. I can show you how people did in the let's see how people did in the, you guys want to see how everybody did in the leaderboard? Let's see it. Oh, there you go. Norbert. Hey, congrats, Norbert. He is pretty good. So Norbert, coming from GDG Cloud Boston, actually representing from GDG Cloud Boston, Norbert, thank you for joining. He was the top performer of our session. Kim, followed by Kim. Sebastian, you did good, pretty good, Sebastian. Thank you for joining. Adonis, good for you, man. Good for you. You were there, pretty close. So I see that you guys are actually paying attention. You guys are studying the material. You guys are going over the material. That is exactly what we were expecting from you. So good job, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in this session. Let's open it up for questions if anybody has any. That way we can wrap up this session. Does anybody have any questions? Remember, this is what you're going to focus on for the next 2 weeks. You're going to be doing those 3 badges: Essential Cloud Infrastructure Foundation, Cloud Infrastructure Core Services, perform foundational infrastructure tasks. Okay, so make sure to focus on week 2 if you already did week 1. If not, that's totally fine. Go back to week 1 right here, week 1, and focus then on those 3 badges. Exactly what I went over today. You're going to get it in greater detail. You can fast forward it, rewind it, watch it again, do all of that really slow, really nice. I watch those videos while I'm mowing the lawn, if you don't believe me. Yeah, I put my headsets and I listen to the videos. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do that. And that's why I was able to, to complete some of my badges. So again, good luck to everybody. Yes, so any questions before we wrap it up? I wanted to see if before we wrap up, a few of you who feel comfortable want to actually open up their camera. Let's take a group picture, because we want to do that every session. So maybe we can either you open up your cam, let's take a picture as a group. Let's do the signal. I'm going to stop sharing now. Great. Awesome. Yeah, if you could, hey, I see a couple of folks joining. Thank you so much, everybody. So glad that you guys were able to make it. Remember, focus on week 2, but if you are not ready, if you still need to catch up on week 1, go ahead and do so. But now you got a little mount to surpass in the next 2 weeks, because you need to catch up. But if you're here just to get the badges and just learn with us, the more the merrier. Invite your friends. People are still in time to join. If you have friends that are interested in the Google Cloud and want to join our study group, invite them, send them the link, have them join. They can get their credits and they can still get the material. So make sure. Paul,
yeah, Paul, Roman come to your house, mow your lawn for you.
Gloria, mow your lawn, and then I watch week 2, right? And then I catch up. Oh, it doesn't let you use the camera. A little weird. It's okay. But anyway, you can still join. If you don't feel comfortable opening up your camera, that's totally fine. We just want to see your beautiful faces. Join us, and so that we can do the customary GDG signal of our group. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Jose, anyway, man, you know you're part of the family. That's okay, brother. Thank you so much for joining. I will see you next week if you're here for the office hours, where we're only going to be reviewing week 1 exam questions. So the same questions that we just did, we're going to do it next Wednesday. And then in 2 Wednesdays, in 2 weeks, we're going to go to week 2, remember, okay? So that way, because we're going to make it really light, we're only going to be reviewing exam questions and answer questions from people, and not do any like review. It's just mostly preparation content. So great. Is everybody ready? Linda, can you take a screenshot from us? Linda, are you there?
Yeah, give me just 1 second, Roman. I have to close the chat and I want to get a better. I will take 1 second.
Yeah, so those of you who are ready, you want to help us, let's take a group photo by doing the GDG signal, which is the customary signal that we do. So let's do this. I promise this is not a gang sign. I promise.
I will have to take few of one screen because everybody's in 2 screens. So give me 1 second. I will take few pictures. Just smile, everyone. So
okay, let's do it. Let's take some pictures. Smile.
1 second. This one doesn't disappear.
I can't hold it for too long, Linda.
I know.
Linda, hurry up.
I have to go now in the other screen. I don't know.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's okay.
Smile,
that's
smile.
You can take one by just us smiling. That's totally fine. So yeah. Let us know when we're ready, and then we can wrap up the call.
Okay. I took 2 of one screen and 2 of the other because we are spread.
Okay, let's do one now that Megan just joined. So, and Adonis just joined. Let's take another one. Let's do the GDG signal, guys. Let's do it one more time, and let's wrap it up for tonight.
Smile. Okay, let me take even the other one more time. We should be good. Smile. Okay, I will drop in Slack the pictures.
Thank you. Pradeep, come on. No, take one with Pradeep, but just with Pradeep.
Where is Pradeep? Where is Pradeep?
I was there earlier.
Okay, yeah. Smile, Pradeep. Okay, I got you.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Now we're gonna have a surprise for those of you who join the upcoming sessions. We're gonna have raffles. We're gonna be raffling Google Cloud swag for those of you who are in the US and Canada. For those of you who are not, we may do like Amazon gift cards because the Google Cloud Store can't ship to outside of the US or Canada, but we're going to be raffling swag on the Google Cloud. So make sure to join our next session, week 2, session 2. We're going to be doing like raffling swag at the end of the session. So make sure to focus on the content that we just provided you. Stay in touch with us via the Slack channel. Ask your questions. If you're stuck, let us know. Continue pushing forward, reviewing those questions, watching the videos, completing the badges. That is what is going to get you a voucher for $200 at the end of this campaign. That way you can go and take the certification. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. See you in 2 weeks. But for those of you who are in the office hours, see you on Wednesday. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Have a great night. See you on the